How much is a coaching session? No, I'm not gonna go over it. I'm gonna go over it all in a moment, but I'm not taking money for coaching sessions. I know, like, me coaching viewers is something you guys have been asking me for a long time. A lot of you have also offered me a lot of money to coach you, but I'm not planning on taking money for coaching sessions right now. If I do coaching sessions currently, it would be because I think it would be interesting content, and it wouldn't be, you know, to earn some extra cash. The main goal that I have right now is, sure, like, part of it is, you know, being on top of my game in the jungle, being a good League of Legends player. Hence I'm playing a lot of solo queue, but just as much to educate you all and to give you some good, interesting content. And I think me coaching a viewer here and there could potentially be interesting content, which is why I want to explore it a bit today and try it out for the first time. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Broxah at your service, and today I am gonna try something different, something I haven't done before that you guys have all been asking me for a long time. The reason it's happening right now in this moment is that I have just reached 100k subscribers on my YouTube channel, and for that I am incredibly thankful, and I want to create something different, something cool for all of you to celebrate. And what you're about to see is going to be the result, and I'm so excited to hear your comments on it. I hope you're all going to appreciate this different content. I will be coaching a viewer. You have all asked me for ages to coach a viewer because you want to see what Mr. Broxah is like in a coaching setting, see how much insight I can give in around an hour, and I'm going to do that today. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind that I better tell you all. In this particular case, it's gonna be a friend of mine and not a viewer. I mean, he is a viewer, he's literally in chat right now. But it's gonna be a friend of mine that I am coaching. He is currently in mid-platinum. I think platinum 3 to be precise. He is a jungle main. He has been grinding a lot, trying to get better at League, trying to climb. Slowly but surely getting to diamond, but today I will coach him. And I will give him the push he needs to get better at the game, to get elo, and to get to the top. Hopefully, after today, I will see him in Challenger soon enough. That will be pretty glorious. But that's the plan, really. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy. I think it's about time we get into it. So, what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna open a replay of a game he just played a couple of days ago. I'm gonna be reviewing the game here on stream and just shooting out feedback, info, insight. We're gonna have a couple of conversations about different topics. I'm gonna be showing his runes as well, because those are pretty valuable. If this is something you guys like, enjoy, there's a chance I'll be doing this with viewers soon. Might even consider turning it into a series. But let's not get far ahead of ourselves, because this is going to be a bit of a test run in that sense. I need to see if you guys like it before making any bigger plans. So, I have this amazing scene, new scene right here that I've created. This is the replay. Coach Broxah is here at your service. Hello, hello. How are you? Are you ready to rock?
Yes, I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for doing this.
I'm definitely looking.
I can climb my way out of plat.
So a bit of insight for all of you watching. Me and my friend here, Mr. Luca, we've known each other since high school. We've played a lot of games together, a lot of League together. But as most of you know, usually when you play with your friends, I mean, sometimes you're tryharding, but it's mostly like pretty chill, you're just having a good time, right? So us sitting down, doing a coaching session like this, in a more serious setting, it's gonna be pretty new. The fact that we're speaking English to each other instead of Danish is also pretty new. So it's gonna be different, but it should be a lot of fun. Okay,
let's see the int.
Let's see the int. True. No, I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful. Well, the beautiful part of League actually is that no matter how well you play, there's always gonna be things you can do different. So even if even if I go a little hard on you, just think to yourself that even if I review the game from Faker, there would be things he could do better.
Yeah, I'm not shy about criticism. Okay. You can go as hard as you want.
All right. Well,
go.
So right in front of us, we have a game that you played a couple of days ago. You are, of course, the kha'zix with the amazing name Curling Pilsen.
Yeah, Francis, you know.
Yeah, he's part of the curling club, of course, a valuable member of ours. And in this game, there's a bunch of different things for us to look at. But before we dive into the specifics of this game, I'm just gonna pull up your runes. I'm gonna send you a photo for you to see on your Discord of your runes. In your runes, well, you're playing kha'zix. You have First Strike, Magical Footwear, Futures Market, Cosmic Insight. Pretty standard stuff. All your runes are pretty standard. You have Eyeball, Treasure Hunter, you have Double Adaptive, and you have Armor. Now, the one thing that can be considered being adjusted on kha'zix is the Domination tree. Actually, there's one thing that's kind of going to have an impact on the build as well. What is the main reason that you have chosen Eyeball instead of Zombie Ward in the secondary tree?
So basically, I think Zombie Ward is a rune you take because you want like vision, you want more vision control. Doesn't offer anything in terms of like killing someone, whereas Eyeball Collection or whatever it's called, it gives you AD, right? So it's more, my focus is on carrying the game.
Yeah.
In my perspective, from kha'zix.
Yeah.
Still, it enables him more. But I can see if you're a really good jungler and you don't need it, it's like a crutch maybe. You can take Poro or that Zombie Ward. So maybe it's good.
Yeah, I think I mean the mindset is correct. It's always going to be about how you can get strong enough to carry the game, and especially in solo queue, right? That's all it comes down to, getting as strong as you can. So for the same reason, I take Eyeball on a lot of the champions I play as well. The Zombie Ward can be a bit trickier to pull off in solo queue because people do place little vision. It can be hard to get it stacked up. If you do get it stacked up entirely, it's still good. But Eyeball, you know, you get a lot of kills and assists often. You get the stacks pretty easy. There's like one situation where Zombie Ward can be interesting on kha'zix.
I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like with the, if you go like Umbral Glaive, the new item, or not the new item, but it recently got buffed, so it's really good now. Couldn't you take like Zombie Ward as well then, because you clear wards so frequently and often and fast as well, so you get more value of by taking Zombie Ward?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay,
that's like that's when you would want to go Zombie Ward. So if you go on kha'zix, if you go Umbral Glaive, or it could be the same if you were playing Graves, Lethality Graves. If you go Umbral Glaive, the combination with Zombie Ward is really good, because Umbral Glaive is gonna make it really easy for you to spot wards. But basically, when there's a ward around you, you know, Umbral Glaive pops, you can go, you one-shot the ward, and you pop a Zombie Ward as well. So it's gonna be really easy to clear wards and stack it, and the Zombie Wards spread across the map is gonna be providing like huge like vision advantage for your team.
It's really disgusting actually how good it is on Pike and kha'zix.
Yeah, you have Pike, kha'zix, Graves, like different champs. So if you go Umbral Glaive, I like Zombie Ward a lot.
Okay.
If you don't go Umbral Glaive, because you don't necessarily have to, I think on kha'zix you can really do either. It's mostly a preference type of thing. I think the Umbral Glaive build is always gonna give like a vision advantage, but if you go Dustblade or Prowler's Claw into Ghostblade and you skip the Umbral Glaive, you're gonna have a bit more damage. So there's like ups and downs to both. But I think in this case, it's just something to keep in mind for the runes. Outside of that, the runes you have in this game are great, and I don't think we need to really dive deeper into them. So I'm gonna share my screen with you, so you can see my screen right now, and then we're gonna have a look.
Load it up, baby.
So can you see my screen?
Yes. I'm ready to see the int.
So no, to see the beautiful place. Okay, so first of all, as a jungler, I guess actually no matter what role you're playing, right as you load into the game, normally you do this in loading screen, but now we're so lucky we're watching a replay so we can pause. You want to look at the matchups, because you need to know, especially as a jungler, how all these matchups are supposed to play out, so you can make the correct path in the early game. The tricky part is that in solo queue, the matchups don't always play out the way they're supposed to, because, you know, one player can be like, yeah, there's gonna be mistakes, one player can be like a lot better than the other, but just having the base knowledge is pretty important, so you know that, like, okay, like, maybe there's like a 70-80% chance that this matchup goes this way, so I'm gonna do this, you know, for that reason. But let's go through the matchups a bit. So if we look at the top lane matchup, Renekton versus Volibear, the Volibear being on your side because you're the kha'zix. When you look at this matchup, what are you thinking? What is going through your mind? How do you think the first 5 minutes play out?
I think Volibear is really strong early game, but Renekton is also really strong, and they both have the same summoner spells. That's like net gain or whatever you want to call it. Like they have the same things basically, and they're really strong early game, both of them. So I think it's more how they play it than how. Yeah, it's a skill matchup, I think. So either one of them can win. But I think maybe Renekton has the edge because he has pressed the attack, whereas Volibear has lethal tempo.
Yeah, I'm not sure why your Volibear has lethal tempo, but I feel like that's
a little bit strange, yeah. But
it's a little bit sus, as some would say.
That's the thing, you know?
But yeah, if we don't have to dive into that, yeah, I agree. It's like you see a top matchup where you have two champions that are gonna brawl against each other. They're just gonna meet in front of the wave. There's gonna be a lot of fighting, trading. They both have ignite, like you said, which makes the matchup even more volatile. Because for top lane, ignite matchups are always gonna be crazy.
One of them is gonna die in 2 minutes.
Yeah, very likely. Now this game is a platinum game. If this was like silver or below, it would probably be even crazier and harder to predict. But I think we can expect them to play pretty aggressive, to be a lot of fighting. There's going to be low health bars. And the thing with top lane in particular is that top lane has always been the easiest lane for us junglers to gank. It's the most punishing lanes because the lane is rather like long as well. So
longer, less summoner spell.
Yeah, and if they die with ignite, it's pretty hard to come back into the game. TP is a different story. So yeah, that's top lane. Then we have mid lane matchup. What are you thinking? Yasuo versus Akali, double ignite.
So I think this one is a bit hard, I think, but maybe Akali wins it because she is kind of strong early with her Q. If she hits it, but I think again maybe it's a skill matchup. It's too hard to say, and they both have ignite as well and flash, so it's exact same runes and summoner spells. Oh, not runes. He has lethal tempo, and she has conqueror. So maybe lethal tempo is better early on Yasuo. So maybe Yasuo wins actually.
Well, I agree with everything you're saying. Good analysis. Let's move on to the next one.
My plat analysis is coming in clutch.
It's on point. Then we have Misfortune Renata versus Jinfresh. That's the last lane we need to think about.
I think they have good disengage, but not good engage, because Renata is like she wants you to run into her, right, with her stuff. But we have like Fresh, which is sort of both, I think. But I think it's gonna be a hard lane to gank because Renata is just gonna stop you if you E or if you need to dodge a pull, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I passed towards top. But I think overall it's like maybe a little bit winning lane from MF and Renata.
Okay.
Because they have MF. I think MF is a bit stronger than Jhin earlier on.
Okay.
But of course, if Fresh like hits a hook, they're gonna have a bad time, you know.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Well, the main thing we need to worry about when looking at these matchups is who has the push. Now, in the two solo lanes, it's pretty hard to predict because it's just two crazy volatile matchups with Ignite all over. Bot lane often can be a little bit easier. One of the things that often determine which bot lane is going to have the push is actually the support matchup. One of the big upsides of Fresh is that he is really, really strong early game. He's a strong early game support. He has a very high likelihood of being able to secure the bot push on his own because he's super strong early in skirmishes. He's strong level 1, 2 with like hook, with flay, and in this case I would predict your bot lane to have the push mostly because of the Fresh. I think often AD carries are, you know, there can be like a slight advantage to one AD carry, but they function so similarly that it's rarely the AD matchup that makes the difference. It often comes down to the support because Fresh is the stronger early game support than Renata.
I can feel you on that.
Yeah, but because of that, I would say your bot lane is most likely gonna have push. So we have two volatile solo lanes and a pushing bot lane. In this case, there's two ways that you can look at it as a jungler. You can go into the game with the mindset that you can path towards bot because your bot lane, your bot lane has
prior, right?
Your bot lane is prior, so you know they're gonna have the priority. You know they're gonna be able to secure you the crap. But you can also look at it the other way, that because your bot lane has prior, because they have control over the wave early on, you can path away from them because they should be safe, and you can instead path towards top side where, you know, there's volatile top and mid that are most likely going to be crazy, and where you can try to get involved before a fight breaks out and before the lane is decided. And you already mentioned you think with bot situation you should path towards top side. I agree with you. I think most often it depends a bit on jungle champion, because some junglers have like certain paths they really prefer. But often when there's an Ignite top lane matchup, you're gonna want to get towards top and influence it. Now, we haven't talked about the jungle matchup yet. kha'zix versus Viego. How do you feel? Is this a matchup you like, don't like?
So I really like Viego, playing kha'zix into Viego, because he's a character who wants to fight you. If you dodge like W, he's just dead, because you can just isolate him if you find him right, and you have your invisibility, and if you go your evolve Q, you just deal like a ton of damage, and he's not really can't really do much to you. You're ability based, and you deal a lot of damage early on, and he's like, he needs to auto attack, and it doesn't deal that much damage. So yep. I really think it's kha'zix favored throughout the whole game actually. So you just kill him if you see him.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I am also much happier being the kha'zix side of this matchup. I think one thing that makes the matchup kind of nice is that one of kha'zix's weaknesses is that he can have a hard time ganking early on, influencing lanes early. His ganks are not the easiest, especially in a game like this where your gank setup isn't the greatest except for bot lane with Jhin Fresh. Like, Akali brings nothing to you as a jungler. Volibear can sometimes set up ganks with Q and E, but it's not certain. Sometimes when being kha'zix it can be kind of scary if the enemy team has a ganking jungler that can put your team behind. But in this case, Viego is just the same as you. Like, you're both gonna farm. There's probably gonna be some skirmishes happening here and there, fights happening here and there. But you know, you don't have to worry about him walking around killing all your lanes. It should generally be fine. And then, as you said, the longer the game progresses, your matchup is going to get better and better. We've analyzed the game. We've talked about all lanes, all matchups, and you already mentioned to me that because of you know, the lane states, you want to path bot to top. So far, so good. That's great.
I will just add a comment to that. Also, you get a better leash if you path bot to top, because there's 2 people hitting blue versus 1 top. So you get a bit faster clear, which can make a difference, I guess, sometimes.
Well, I definitely like your way of thinking, because I feel the same way. Getting a bot lane leash is always nice, you know. Bot lanes don't always like it. They can get a bit salty sometimes, but in my mind, the jungle perspective, well, like the way I look at it is that in competitive, it can actually make a big difference for lanes to leash in certain matchups, because just by starting in lane, they can create a big advantage. In solo queue, that never really happens. Like, people don't know their matchups well enough for them, you know, not leashing to actually make a difference in a lane. So just getting the leash from your bot lane is really nice. And in this case, it's just a bonus because you can path towards the volatile top matchup anyway. So if something gets crazy top, assuming no one dies before your top side, of course, then you can be involved and you can make a difference. Anything else you wanna add before we watch the game?
Also, a point I want to make is maybe that Viego also would like to start bot lane, because he also has a volatile top lane and mid lane. So I think for me, if top lane is like ungankable for whatever reason, my laner died or the wave is pushed or something else, right? I can always go for the invade and kill Viego, because I think still that you're stronger than him, like level 1 to 18. So you have 2 options. So it's not like you only can gank top, right?
Yeah. No, of course.
Another option.
And as I said, it's like ganking top also depends on how top matchup plays out, because it's like hard to overforce it with kha'zix, or not kha'zix. And the thing is, for him, it's like he wants to path top for the same reasons as you, with like the solo lanes, but he also wants to path top because his bot lane is getting pushed in, meaning if he paths down, he has a very low chance of getting the bot crap, because your bot lane can probably just defend it even if you're not there. Again, depending on how the bot matchup plays out and all.
But yeah, I think also probably Fresh will go like the support item which last hits. I can't remember the name of it. But he will probably use that to get level 2 advantage, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they will have prior.
Yeah. I see a few people in chat commenting on you know, all this information possibly being a bit overwhelming. I can see why. I do want to mention one thing. That part of why I'm going a bit more in depth with all these details is that this is a review for a platinum player. Obviously, if it's a bronze review or a silver review, it's a bit of a different, you know, basis, level of gameplay we're working with. But when you reach platinum, I think all this information is stuff you need to start thinking about for you to have an edge over the enemy jungler. And that's really what it comes down to, right? As a jungler, you are having such a big say in the early game. There's so many small things you need to think about constantly, and even before the game starts, all these things are stuff you have to think through, so you can actually come into the game with the correct game plan. And of course, if the level of play you're at is like lower than that, maybe you have different challenges, different things you need to focus on. Maybe you're already struggling to even clear your camps to begin with, and that's obviously something to keep in mind. But yeah, the level is a bit higher here, so I'm gonna have to dive in like a little bit deeper, so we can get a lot of takeaways here. Now, let's have a look at the game. So I'm gonna start it now. And then I'll pause here and there, and we can talk when something interesting comes up. So to begin with, I'm gonna play it on a 2 speed. And
Viego started 3 pots. I actually didn't know this, but he started 3 pots instead of refillable. So
that's true.
That would indicate to me, right, that he wants to do more things early, aggressive style playing.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a little bit of a strange decision.
Yeah, definitely weird.
It's not something I'm used to seeing people going 3 health pots. Normally, it's like either you go refillable, or you go like 1 health pot and a pink ward, or no health pot at all if your champion doesn't even need it, like on Fiddlesticks. But yeah, now.
Also, maybe to be more safer than like going refillable versus invade. So he will stay higher HP if I invade him.
Yeah, true. Well, it's not something I would recommend anyone to do. I think it's mostly just a waste of gold, because in your case, you have to refillable on your next.
Let's see
2-3 clears
what
as
you think about it in 5 minutes. Okay.
we'll see. Well, yeah. I have my first question for you here. Both you and Viego are standing here. What is the thought process behind it? Why are you standing here?
Yeah, this is pretty bad, right? I need to maybe stand topside and then move bot when the timer gets closer to the buff spawning.
Why? Well, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just asking, like, what the reasoning is behind standing here.
Okay, so
because Viego is doing it as well. So it's not just you randomly doing it. This guy is here too.
I think for me, when I looked at their team comp, I could see no way they could invade. They have no like pike hook, fresh hook, Nautilus hook, any sort of engage hook or Luke's binding or something like that. So I just think early game, let's just not mess it up, because I think we have a good chance. So I just stand in the brush.
So you're ready in case they walk up or something.
Yes, or something. But I don't think this is like the best play. I just think I was lazy in this moment. So that's definitely something you could improve on.
Yeah, okay. Well, in my mind, the best thing to do as a jungler in solo queue is to always sit here on top side, so sit here.
I agree.
Or sit here. The main reason for it is that you're saying there's no chance they can invade top side, but in their mind, maybe Renekton feels really confident because Renekton is actually pretty strong level 1 and they wanna, do like a late invade, or they just randomly invade, like it's solo queue. You never really know what the enemy team is gonna do, or it's always about preparing for the worst. And in this case, they're not set up to do anything, but maybe in a different game, Viego actually ends up starting on your red buff without you knowing. So just covering here, like the best way is to like have one here, you here, Akali walks a bit up mid, Jhin and Thresh are in good positions, then you have covered like all your jungle entrances, right?
I just making sure. Agree with you. But you can see this game, Volibear is not wanting to stand in the
tri-brush. Both your soul lanes are hogging their turrets as well. And it's like, you can also say that, well, if I start here, then maybe they're gonna come from tri-bush and kill me. But it's like, if you stand far enough back, you're fine.
Yeah, you can never die if you stand the right spot, right?
Yeah, you just need to stand like a little bit further back.
You can jump away with kha'zix E, right? So
that's... Yeah, I mean, I guess... I think I would rather tank a death in that case, to be honest, because starting E on kha'zix level 1 sounds really painful.
I can definitely see the...
Like, I've always felt the same on Elise, for example. It's like, if you start Cocoon on Invade, like, even in pro teams, I would usually tell them, sure, we can invade if you guys want, but I'm not starting Cocoon, because then I can't clear my jungle afterwards.
Yeah, it will take ages, right? You can't...
Yeah, it's a bit rough. But yeah, just covering here level 1 is really good, just to make sure that they don't start in your jungle. Because if they randomly decide to invade you, you could lose your entire jungle without knowing. There's some kind of random fighting here. We can just have a look at that, but I think that mostly comes as a result of this. But yeah, it's like kind of same thing. I think it again goes a bit back to like coming into the game with a clear plan of what you want to do. I think you moving here, you walking up here is like, again, it's just a little bit random. I have no idea why Viego is here either, but in this case it worked out for him because he got to chunk you, so now your buff is spawning in 17 seconds and you're not able to heal up. Okay, we continue. Starting blue, like we talked about. Viego is also gonna path towards the top side, towards the volatile top matchup, so all this is pretty standard. I have one small thing I just wanna have a look at here. What is the main reasoning that you don't use smite on your blue buff?
So basically, now it's at 350 HP, so I don't get the full use out of smite.
Okay.
And I don't think you really get lowest kha'zix that much, right? You have your W to heal, so I just save it.
So what I think you should have done here, because to me it's not so much about the healing, it's about the efficiency of the clear. What I think you should have done here, if I go back again, is your Q is coming up, right? But you can just, instead of using Q here, you can just use another auto, smite it, move to Grump, and then your clear is going to be faster, because if you don't use smite on blue, you're level 1 for a longer time. So by using an auto here, smiting, you will be on Grump the second it spawns. Then you have Q up, you have W up, and you could do Grump pretty quickly.
True.
It's just
That's
about
a
getting
good
to
point.
level 2 as fast as you can, and on most junglers, I think the only reason for you not to smite this is if your leash is so big that you will already be on Grump anyways when it spawns, but that's
like
pretty rare.
Shaco support with 3 boxes.
Yeah, exactly. If it's something crazy like this. Because right now you could already be hitting Grump, you could already have gotten your spell rotation off, so it would just have made you a little bit faster. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just something a lot of people don't think about, that often smiting that first buff is just more efficient because you get a level up faster, you get a second spell faster, and it's just gonna make the clear a little bit faster. So we do Grump, and now we're heading to top side. Again, I will be asking a lot of questions, so you're just gonna have to live with that.
I'll have to defend myself. No, but yeah, you ask away.
Why are we skipping wolves?
So, I really like you have 2 options, right? You have the full clear option, or you have the level 3 gank top option. And I this game I went with the level 3 into a gank top because I felt like if I snowball and I have a treasure hunter, I will get more gold, and I have first strike, I will get more gold as well. Maybe not a lot, but it matters, right? And I really want to make sure that my top laner doesn't die, cover him maybe, and maybe get a kill on Volibear. If we kill Volibear, we push the wave together, me and Volibear.
So
and he doesn't have TP, so he misses a whole wave, right? Or maybe a bit more.
Yeah, then my question would be, are you making this decision because you're looking at top and seeing these guys fight? Or is it just like something you have in your mind and you're just like kind of randomly doing it? Like, are you watching top matchup while you're on Grump and then decide to skip wolves?
I looked briefly top, I think, and then I didn't look. Maybe like right now I'm not looking, definitely. So I should have seen this and maybe like read the cards. One of them is gonna die right now, so I can't really do anything. So maybe I should full clear, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, my next question would be, how high do you think your chances are of making a play here? Whether it's like top or in the jungle or mid. Like, when you look at the map right now, how high do you think your chances are of getting a play off?
I think mid is not gankable, right? Because he has...
Yeah, he's gonna be
level
really hard to kill.
He's gonna be really hard to kill. Not isolated as well, so that sucks, right? But there's a minion wave. Akali is not that strong like level 3 or 4, I feel like. Doesn't do much. Energy costs are too high.
Yeah, so it's a hard lane to gank.
That's why this game we'll see it a little bit later, I actually go for invade. So I take red, and then I go towards Viego, because I feel like I can kill him.
Okay.
But yeah, top lane is just dead, level 1. So that's... I should definitely have looked
Yeah, he actually
more,
ended up dying here.
Yeah.
Okay. So your logic behind doing this is that you want to go invade Viego topside.
Yeah. I feel like not many people, in my elo at least, invade or know the matchups that well. Like, you just stay on your side of the map a lot. So I feel like if I can really do red fast now, I can maybe catch him at blue. But we'll see, right?
Well,
we'll see what happens.
I guess we will. I think well, my point here would be that there's a few things to keep in mind here. One is they have mid prior, so if you go for an invade in a bit, maybe the wave bounces and Akali is gonna have the prior. It's a possibility, but it's solo queue, you can't know for sure. If they continue to have mid prior when you go for the invade though, their mid laner can move first. Yeah. Like Akali might be stuck on the turret, and Yasuo can have a move on you, which would put you in a disadvantage when you go for the invade. Outside of that, I don't think your big advantage in this matchup is gonna come from level 3. It's like, there is a chance you can go for an invade and it can work, but there's a lot of, you know, question marks and like random factors that can come and play, like the mid matchup being one. At level 3, there's a chance Viego can outplay you, especially if he's not isolated. And there's different things that can go wrong. So it's not like a 90%, 100% chance of working.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky play, I would say.
It's like your top laner just died too. So Renekton is going to push this out base. He's going to come out of base and be really strong. So it's a risky play. Which is why I don't think it's the correct decision to make, and there's different reasons for it. I think going for a risky play like this one is rarely a good thing as a jungler, because if you go for a risky play and it goes wrong, it can actually make it really hard for you. Like it can kind of, you know, make the rest of your game really difficult to play out, because you put yourself at a disadvantage so early. The other thing is that I think it's gonna have a bigger influence on your upcoming clears than you would think, because right now
the rotations of the
when it comes to like cycling your camps is something that's really important as a jungler, because right now you do your red, but the only one of your camps that you did that's not a buff is actually Grump. So after this invade, the clear is gonna get a little bit awkward. Viego did clear 2 camps, so it's not like he's like much ahead of you. But again, as we can see, it's like Renekton is coming, Yasuo is push, and after the invade, the clear gets a little sketchy. It's like if the invade goes perfectly, then you can do top crap and you can clear top to bot and life is great. But if the invade goes poorly, well, then on your first clear, you only got 12 CS and your second clear is kind of awkward, whereas...
Foreshadowing, you're foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's like you always have to... well, maybe I'm foreshadowing, maybe not. You just always have to think about like the worst case scenarios, right? That's why I'm talking about high percentage plays.
Yeah. So you're basically saying this play is like the reward isn't as great as the risk to myself. Like
it's like a pretty extreme risk with a pretty low reward. I think like it's like the longer this matchup plays out, the better it's gonna be for you. There's also gonna be a lot of squishy targets for you to kill later. And kha'zix is not really much of an invade champ or a ganker. It's like you can if you have lane prior, but the requirements for like an aggressive invade is not really met right now since you don't have any backup. The best thing that you can do in my mind is to do blue, Grump, wolves, Raptors red, just do 5 camps. Then if you think top crab is free and Viego doesn't contest it, you can do Crocs before moving to crab. In this case, we know Viego started red because your team had a ward on it. We know he's going to be topside. So you can do red, and then after red, you have a decision to make. It's like, then again, it depends on lanes. If we can contest crab with top prior / mid prior, we can go for it. If not, we do Crocs, we base, we move bot crab. Because this way, for you as the jungler, you will 100% not fall behind. you are going to be even at worst on first clear. And if this guy makes a pathing mistake, you might even be ahead. If you can contest crap with a lane prior, you might also be able to kill him here. But before you go for that play, you're going to have your entire jungle cycled, so you're already going to have a lot of XP and gold, so it's not going to be as bad for you if it goes wrong. Whereas if you go for the play now, a lot of things can go wrong afterwards. Yeah, it's really hard to catch up afterwards. So it's just like about securing yourself before you go for the invade. And I think that's the main thing here. But let's see how it plays out. Because this is definitely...
Just maybe want to mention that Viego did a kind of weird path, right? Because he skipped his golems. He did something a little unorthodox, at least, in my book.
Not necessarily, because Viego is thinking about the same things as you, right? At least we can expect him to. He's thinking about wanting to get to the top side, wanting to get to the solo lane matchups as soon as possible, and...
But isn't this like in between? Like he wants to do it fast, but he wants as many camps as possible. Because I would skip, if I was Viego and I really wanted to get top fast, I would skip Crux and then go for blue and then.
Yeah, well, this is pretty specific, right, about how Viego functions generally. Like Viego in particular, like. The clear he does is basically the clear I just mentioned that I think you should have done, which is a 5 camp clear. He obviously, he's not going to get Crocs on his first clear, that's not ideal. But for Viego as a champion, it's actually not that easy to do Crocs level 2, so if he paths towards top, he kind of has to do this path. Also, this path is going to, after crap is about to spawn and he's going to be out in river in time for it. So it's not strange in that sense.
I can see again, it's actually a 5-head strategy,
But
don't skip the camp that doesn't really. It's too slow.
It's like it takes a long time for him to do Crocs. It feels kind of bad doing it on level 2.
I can see it. Yeah, I can definitely see it.
But you're also right that if you had just full cleared, you can get like a small advantage in first clear because you're pathing towards your Crocs and you can do them last, right? Now if we like flip the maps and you are on the other side, like I would say on kha'zix, it's no problem for you to do Crocs, like you should just do them. It's just that Viego in particular, him specifically, has a bit of a hard time doing them. So he just wants...
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He wants 5 camps, basically.
Yeah, he just wants 5 camps into a crab. Yes, he skips the hardest camp, looks for the crab, looks for the top play, and that's about it. So, let's see. This already makes me a little bit nervous. Because you've been spotted in the ward, Yasuo is prior and Renekton is coming. So I'm getting very nervous seeing this, but let's play it out. I think the fight so far, pretty well, I like it. As you said, you definitely do beat him early. That's not even a question, it's mostly the outside factors. He's not even
isolated here, right?
Yeah, he wasn't even isolated. If you could have gotten an isolated Q, that would have made it even greater, but we don't have to dive into like those small specifics, you're already aware of it. It's mostly the outside factors rather than the matchup alone I'm worried about. Because now I'm pretty much... I know I'm dead, right? But I really need to get Viego or else this is really bad, So that's my thought process. That is your thought process, but not necessarily, right? Like, I think if you take his flash, like he dropped to less than 50 health rate. You actually don't see Renekton right now. Yeah. But... My first point was that, like, was going to be that whether you see Renekton or not is a really big thing. But in this case, it doesn't even matter, because you should know Renekton based and that he's coming back from base, meaning he can be here at any time. And it feels really bad not flashing in for this. But you know that if you flash in, you're probably gonna die. At least in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. That because
I feel like you're right here. Like I can either flash on him and maybe get the kill, right? Or I can just walk up to the brush by the tower and flash over the wall and survive.
Yeah, you can just walk out here, and depending on like where Renekton is on Yasuo's pathing to you,
I think Yasuo's too close. I think I need to.
You might even be able to walk out, but yeah, you're probably gonna have to flash because this Yasuo is pretty close, so you can walk up here and flash out. Whereas, like, you're basically one out in this situation. Because right now, because of your pathing, he has 1 camp more than you. But this guy is so low. Like, it's like, maybe he's gonna do Grump with Smite, but most likely he's just gonna base. So you can take the little win you got here. It's like one of those scenarios where you can, you know, go for like the big play and try to get it all. Or you can take the little win that's then gonna translate into something bigger later. In this case, burning his flash, putting him this low means that his first clear has been disrupted big time. So you can just walk out, flash over the wall. While Viego isn't able to do anything, you then have all the options in the world. You can do top crab, because they're not going to be able to contest that. Renekton and Yasuo are going to have to move back from their lanes. And then after top crab, you have so many options. You can move down to the bot crab. You can do, like, you can then do your full clear top to bot, which is what I would do, because then by the time your bot, your Grump is going to be up again. And all of a sudden, life is actually pretty good, right? And then when a fight breaks out, Viego doesn't have flash, and maybe that can translate into a kill. Whereas if you flash in right now, there's a lot of question marks, and you're probably not going to get out because the soul lanes are coming, right? Makes sense?
Yeah, I went for the greedy play, yeah.
Well, it's not greedy in that sense, because, I mean, you're like really close to killing this guy. It's like the second you flash, Renekton comes around the corner and kills you. Well, I assume he kills you.
I really want to give props to Renekton as well. He was really thinking about also what abilities do I have that can kill Viego right now, and that's only W, right? So he body blocked me the whole way towards him. If you look closely, so I could never W. I feel like he played it really well as well. You know? He
was being very smart. He was a good boy protecting his jungler. This is the teammate we all want as a jungler.
True.
It's like you get invaded and you're stressed out, and then both of your soul lanes come and, you know, defend you.
That's definitely a good like they really it came fast, you know.
Yeah.
Renekton was like from base, you know, but Yasuo went and helped him actually. So
yeah.
Some laners wouldn't do that, like, or maybe not as fast in this elo at least.
Yeah,
they went fast as well.
Like in a different game, maybe you see Yasuo just staying mid. Like there's a pretty high chance most players would just stay mid and ignore what happens in jungle. Pretty common solo queue thing. And then the scenario can be a little different. Then you're gonna have to judge if Renekton can kill you alone if you jump in. In this case, I would say probably not. You probably could get out. I mean, like, again, in a different scenario where you could flash in and get the kill and then get out. It's just that in this case, even if you get the kill, because both of them are moving, you're gonna die, and then you're just trading kills, and there's no point anymore. It's just better to take the flash, focus on your clear, and then you get your advantage that way.
Yeah, agree.
Then, let's
see what happens.
Let's move on. Wait, we need to fix the fucker 4. There we go. Now we see everything again. Alright, so let's have a look at what you're doing here. So right now, I'm gonna guess that what is going through your mind is like, oh, that sucked. That I'm not so happy right now. I'm behind, but because because the first clear didn't go very well, I need to farm and I need to catch up. So yes. I'm gonna do a full clear, correct?
Also, a point to add or note, I go top because I want to take Drake the first minute, or at least when it spawns almost.
Okay.
Because I know kha'zix can do Drake really easily.
Yeah,
That's
think
why
that
I path towards top and go.
Yeah, I think
towards, but I guess
I think that does make sense. There's like one downside to going top immediately instead of going to crab, which is that there's a chance you're gonna lose the bot crab. It's like it's a little gamble, but I do see where you're coming from. And the thing is also that we know that Viego started bot side, meaning on his second clear when he bases, he's probably just gonna run to his Crocs, do Raptors, move top side. Unless he's also thinking about Drake, but often they're just gonna path top side, meaning you might actually, you know, get a free Drake like you're saying. And we do like free Drakes. It's just a nice and easy way to get an advantage for your team.
Pretty standard clear, you know.
Yeah, I like it. Now we're behind for first clear. It happens. top lane, overextended, died. Just solo queue stuff. Happens. So yeah, now we're pretty behind, and we're just gonna have to catch up. Fortunately for us as the jungler, Viego is sitting on 2 assists, so it's actually not that bad. He's not the one sitting on all the gold. Oh, there's some stuff happening. Yeah, so your clear has been completely standard so far. But Fresh is angry. He wants some action, or actually, rather, he's just being a smart and good support because he's defending your crap and helping you while Renata is bot. Again, only thing to keep in mind is that Jhin can't move, Akali can't move. So if we fight here, we're gonna have to be quick. If this was me, I mean, Fresh is being kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he's playing really, really aggressive here. If this was me, the only thing I would care about being the jungler is getting this crap. Like, I think you just need to get crap and then get out. It's a little bit tricky now because your Fresh is gonna go for the all-in. But I would probably... No, but
I feel like this is a point where he hits his stuff, right? And if I don't go in, he will spam ping me later. Why didn't you go in, right?
Yeah, but this I mean, this is easier said than done, but
of course,
this we cannot let the as a jungler we're kind of like a babysitter, and if we start changing our judgment because we listen to what could be a very angry baby, then that might mean we make the wrong decision, right? So we need to do what we think is right. The only problem here is that because Fresh went for the all-in, when Yasuo is right next to us, their bot lane is gonna move.
Yeah.
If we leave Fresh, he's dead for sure. If we go for the all-in and one-shot Viego, maybe we can escape through topside. But the best play for here definitely would have been to just get the crap and run. Because, they just are pushing both of the lanes, right?
We have no cryo at all. We're just 2 people in the river versus 4 people in like
exactly.
10 seconds.
It's like, if we get crap, like we're so happy already. Like, life is pretty good.
Totally
You're sitting on 800 gold, so you can even get your serrated Dirk, and then your next clear is pretty good. This is not so much up to us. It's like the support, and then we just need to decide, well, are we going to go for the YOLO play with him, or are we going to leave him and let him die? I think in this case, I don't know if that's necessarily a right or wrong. It's a tricky judgment call.
I think there's a middle ground, right? Ping him back and W maybe Viego.
Yeah, so I think...
show you're there to protect Thresh, and then...
So I think when he starts walking up here, or just when he starts walking up, we can ping him to back off.
Yeah.
The problem is that now he just walked up so far, and we're kind of committing entirely for the fight with him. Yeah. Misfortune doesn't move, by the way, so that's a bit of a miracle. She just doesn't care about the fight, so it's a 3 versus 3, and maybe that means we're actually gonna be okay. I have no idea why Misfortune doesn't move. Selfish AD carry, I guess. But yeah,
this was one of those plays that could have gone really wrong, but
it's just one of those cases where it could have gone horribly wrong, especially because Viego lived, but we were pretty lucky that Misfortune refused to move and stayed bot, and for that reason we get out. But like right now, Viego is not dead. It's hard for him to participate in fight, but he might be able to get back in. But if we end up in a fight right now, like our Thresh is level 3, Renata's 4, Yasuo is 5, Akali is 5, and then MF is 4 to your level 4. They're gonna have a small advantage in a fight. Misfortune and Renata could be flanking you right now, with Yasuo coming from the front, Viego possibly coming in. Maybe 2 or 3 people die and the game gets really hard, right? Ideally we don't end up with that scenario.
A lot worse, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a miracle. It's looking as great definitely right now, considering what it looked like a few seconds ago. But yeah, despite the craziness, you got the crap, so we're happy. Now, because we got the crap, and because we've already full cleared, because they're all in river, there's not really anything to do bot side anymore. Like, they're not gonna do Drake, we know that. It doesn't make sense for them to start it, because then we can walk back in and kill them. And now, even after at first clear that wasn't really ideal. We're actually 1 CS up on vehicle. We have a small lead. So the main thing that we need to do now is keep expanding on that lead, keep getting further ahead. So, you're basing. I like to see that. And then, as you mentioned, Drake is a big priority. Now, my next question is going to be, because I do see that you're moving to Drake, and I can also see that you're about to get it.
The timeline.
which is good.
Spoiled the fun.
It spoils a little bit. My question is, do you think it's better to do Drake right there, or do you think it would have been better to have top to bot? I'm not saying that any is right or wrong. I'm just asking.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, Drake is like, it helps so much in lane as well. Like Ocean Drake gives you HP regen, so the laners will have an easier time to stay in lane, and maybe, just maybe, it can like make them survive a fight or something. At least it makes it easier for them to lane, and whatever makes it easier for my teammates to lane, kill the enemy with Infernal, I think is worth.
What if this was a Cloud Drake or an Infernal Drake? Infernal,
yes. A Cloud, probably yes as well, I think, because it's just stats, you know. You get stats for you give a little gold away, or not away, like, but because he's not taking my top camps, they're still there. But I get a little behind on gold, but I secure an objective for the team, which gives either movement speed, health regen, damage. If it was Mountain Drake, I really think I should skip it. I really don't like Mountain Drake.
Why? What don't you like about
it? If we look at our team comp, nobody really wants to build any armor except Thresh or Magic Resist.
I think it's fair saying that it would be a little less tempting if it's a Mountain Drake. My reasoning would be a bit different. That I'm not sure if you noticed, but all the Drakes have different stats. And
yes, I've noticed getting chunked by Ocean and Hextech.
Yeah, so Ocean and Hextech deal the most damage. Yeah. Mountain is the tankiest one, and it takes the longest to kill. Meaning, if we walk there as a level 5 kha'zix, it's going to take a little bit longer. Not that it's necessarily a problem. But yeah, I mentioned Cloud Drake as a bit of a bait. You passed the test, because I think it shouldn't really matter if it's an Ocean or a Cloud. Obviously, we're always going to be more tempted to get a Drake that's not a Cloud Drake, because who cares about a single Cloud Drake? It doesn't do anything. That's why often when a Cloud is spawning, no one takes it for 15 minutes. But it's still free stats, as you mentioned, and it's still going to get us one step closer to the next Drake, which could be a good one, and one step closer to a Soul as well.
I can see the buff not being useful on a single character, maybe, but if
but it's like
compounding
the buff from the first Drake doesn't matter that much, anyways. It's like really small stats you're gaining from it. It's mostly about getting one step closer to the Soul, in my mind. Of course, getting like let's say if you get the three first Drakes that all give different stats, like that's nice, but the Soul is the most valuable one, getting one step closer to the Soul point.
The big upside as well.
Yeah, but Ocean has always been the nicest early one. As you mentioned, laners are happy, they get a little bit of missing health back. And I think when it comes to decision making, which is the main thing here in the pathing, in this case, I think it's fine for you to run down to the dragon, because you are a kha'zix, it's really easy to kill it, you get it for free. And it's also gonna be pretty good for your clear. Because what I would be worried about would be a case where you do the Drake, but then you only have topside camps up. Because then it can get really awkward. It's like you have Drake, and then you have to cross all the way to topside, and then go back to bot side after.
That would be really bad. But I know my camps are spawning as well, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, you know that you cleared top to bot before. You can see that your Crocs are up, your Raptors are up, meaning your Wolves and Grump are coming as well. And because blue is up, you can just do the blue buff, and then once you're done with blue, your wolves are gonna be there, and then it's fine. It's just in a case where
It's the switcheroo jungle clear. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Now, and this is actually pretty smart, because now you do want to path towards top anyways, because the next objective that we always need to keep in mind as junglers like Drake and Herald is just an easy way to get an advantage for the team. The next objective coming up is the Herald. You only have 445 gold right now, because you just came out of base, so it's not like you need to base anyways. You can just path up towards the Herald, see if there's a way to get that. Of course, in this game, I am gonna be honest, the chances of us getting Herald are very low, because mid lane is losing, top lane is literally getting murdered. So it's not gonna be easy to get it unless we sneak it, but it's just good to keep it in mind. So
yeah, you definitely want to maybe be around.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to end up in a 3 versus 3, because we cannot fight this crocodile anymore. He's just a god. Like if we compare their items top, like it's like
he has attack speed, which is totally useless, right?
This guy has Doran's ring and double dagger. Renekton has 1 billion attack damage and one-shots anyone who's gonna walk up to him, right? So it's not a fight that we're gonna win. But there's a chance that by the time you're top, you see Viego bot side, and then you can just sneak it, right? So there's one thing I do want to mention here, because I see you're pulling your wolves upside or upwards. So I'm gonna assume you're not doing your grump. Why are we not doing grump here?
So it spawned a little later than wolves, because we, as you said before, cleared from top to bottom before, so it spawned a little bit late, and I didn't want to wait for it. I wanted the extra tempo. I think skipping grump will give you a little bit extra tempo. See what you can do on the map, you know.
But the question is,
I still feel like if I find Viego in his jungle, I can kill him.
Well, so the question is what you're gonna do with that tempo, right? Because you mentioned that maybe you can find Viego, but you cannot. Like, realistically speaking, you shouldn't be able to walk into the enemy jungle anymore, because both of their soul lanes are always going to push yours on the tower, so you can't walk in, right?
But at this point, may I add, like, I'm really close to hitting 6 if I get the camps, if I'm not going to hit 6. So I really feel like, and if I evolve Q, I kill Viego in 2 Qs, and then also. You
can kill
like
Viego?
The kill time so low that maybe I can escape. That's my thought process, right?
Yeah. My counterpoint is gonna be...
He stands no chance for me.
My counterpoint is gonna be that there's a pretty high chance that he can easily live, because his flash is gonna come up by the time you invade, and then he can just flash out, and you're gonna get, collapsed on by the 2 soul laners like the first time.
Yes.
And
definitely a risk.
I think a mistake that I often see people make is that they're a bit too fixated on kills, because there's so many ways for you to get a really big lead on the other jungler by just having a better pathing than him. And these risky invades, it's like it feels like you're kind of outplaying him, because you're going aggressive, and maybe you can get a kill. But in this case, I don't think we should look to invade Viego topside anymore. I think we want to get as far away from this crocodile as we can. So I think we should just do grump, clear our full topside. Because the thing is, grump is not going to be that bad for your tempo. Like, we can see it turned yellow, and it's going to spawn while you're on your wolves. So you can just move down, do grump. Yeah. After grump, if you have a bit more gold, you can base. In this case, you barely have anything. So I would just do the grump to just, again, cycle your camps, put everything on cooldown. Then move up, full clear your top side. After you clear your top side, then we need to see what happens. Then it's going to depend a bit on the state of the game. The state of the game is not fully in our control anymore, because soul lanes are losing so hard. So it's not like we can just walk in river or walk into that jungle or do Herald. But the main thing is just cycling all your camps as much as you can, because then you keep getting farm, you keep getting XP, gold, resources, and then you're going to be in a good spot. Makes sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Cool. Now, I'm starting to get a little bit worried for this game, because our bear he's not having a fun time top, and he's building full damage recurve bow against a crocodile. But it is what it is. It's just one of the things that we have to keep in mind. When you see a top matchup playing out this way, what are you thinking? Like, are you thinking of helping him? Do you think you should play on the other side of the map?
Okay.
What do you think is correct?
What I think is correct is playing for bot lane this game. Because Crocodile pops ulti, ignites you, W, Q, whatever. He kills you in a rotation, right? And he can do that with either me or in Volibear. So, and he has probably Triumph, so he will heal if you're even at all close to killing him, which you're probably not. The only thing I see, the only way we kill Renekton, right, is if he dives Volibear or something crazy like that. But I think if I gank him, I'm dead, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always a tough decision to make when you have a lane that's losing, if you should help them out, help them come back into the game, or if you should just drop them and leave them behind. Usually my rule of thumb is that if one gank can actually help them and make a difference in their lane, bring them back, it's something you can consider to go top. But in this case, Volibear is 2,000 gold down at 8 minutes, and he has died 3 times already. His lane is over, and Renekton is also a strong early game champion, so he's just gonna kill you guys 1v2 at this point. So I agree. I think...
Also, I wanted to say, maybe I looked at Volibear's items, and I thought there's no way we're gonna kill Renekton. Like,
Yes.
what is Recurve Bow gonna do versus Renekton?
I think it's like...
And what is Boots gonna do versus Renekton? We need raw stats, right?
Yeah, there's cases where the Nashor's Tooth Volibear can be good, but you shouldn't build it against the Renekton, because if you're a squishy Volibear, he's just gonna one-shot you. And yeah, with him sitting on these items, like, he's a minion. Renekton will just kill him. He's gonna kill either one of you and then kill the next one after. So
I feel like he spent 1,300 gold for a little bit of movement speed and attack speed, and 1580 basically of physical damage on the recurve.
Yeah, his itemization is not ideal, but I think for like the general point that we can take with us to the next game is that the lane is so far behind that we cannot help him. It's just over for him. So we need to drop him, and we need, because he's losing, we need a winning lane. And that lane has to be mid or bot. Mid is losing as well, but it's not losing as hard, and there is a chance that with 1 or 2 ganks we can actually give Akali a lead.
Yeah, definitely.
And if
it's
not,
much easier to gank Yasuo than Renekton.
Yeah. So now we just say goodbye, Volibear. Enjoy the rest of your game. You made mistakes. Now you have to pay for it and suck it up. And then we try to help the rest of our team. And it's tricky now. Like, this game is looking.
This game is
rough.
looking rough. I know
it's looking very rough.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. And if we get fed enough, if we get one lane that's fed enough, maybe in late game we can take down the Crocodile. Yeah, let's.
It's like your kha'zix game before this.
Yeah, true. It's like one of my kha'zix games earlier today. It's like sometimes it starts horrible. I think in that game I was 2-5. I ended up the game being 10-5 because it's just about like making the right decisions, playing around yourself, playing around the right lanes, and again, as a jungler, like, an easy way to get a lead on your opponent, especially in lower elos, is to just have a good pathing and farm efficiently. Because, like, I know one of the things you mentioned earlier is that you don't want to end up farming too much. Of course we don't. It's just about farming a lot and then getting the right opportunity, and then you can take over the game.
It's about efficiency, always, in jungle, right? You need to take as many camps as you can and impact the map as much as you can. While taking as many camps as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
So that's also always trade-offs. So.
Yeah, for sure. What? Oh yeah, and because of the reasons we just talked about, we shouldn't be sitting here. We should just be clearing our crocs, and then we should base, because we also have a lot of gold to spend. So we just want to get crocs, base, move out bot side. Try to have an impact bot side. If we can't do anything mid or bot, well, at the very least we got some bot camps to clear, and then we don't end up wasting any time. I do get the logic of like trying, like wanting to go around top, because it's like really stressful seeing a lane losing this hard.
Yeah.
But we just need
definitely
to.
Like, oh
Well, this is one of those things where, honestly, if this works, like, I'm not even. Let's see. This is a
again.
a
I
spicy
feel like
one.
Viego is like a minion right now, honestly, and I'm just a boss because my Q is like so good against him, right? He can't do
Yeah.
anything.
Again, counterpoint being, if Viego actually checked 15 seconds ago, his Renekton would drop the top wave and come, and then they get Herald, right? But this is one of those things where it's so unexpected for them, because they're winning solo lane so hard. They don't expect you to do the Herald. And you also walked in sneakily, like you hugged the wall so they didn't see you on the crap. Props for that. A lot of people don't know that if you hug the wall,
yeah, exactly.
then the crap doesn't spot you. But because you did that, you're not spotted by the pink, you're not spotted by crap. They thought they were safe, and sneaky kha'zix gets Herald. Again, like, it's one of those things where, in this case, it worked out perfectly. Like, it was actually really huge, because if you don't get this Herald, then it means that you're
gone either way.
Top is gonna be gone soon, but then they can get 4 plates mid, and then it's actually really hard. So this is really huge.
Your viewers that you can't path down. It will spot you the skull crab, but you can't path towards.
That is true. If you're a jungler and if you path this way, the crab doesn't spot you. But if you path this way, then it will. So that is just a good thing to keep in mind. And our sneaky kha'zix here knew about that, got Herald.
Also, I think this play is relatively safe, because I can just jump the wall, right? If I see them, I know Jake is up, I can't be here anymore, let's just be out.
You can, but the problem, it's like...
I don't think they can catch me, right? Is that
they will never kill you, but they can't kill you. But it's not only about that. The thing is, if they come and take over the Herald, then you leash it for them. They also see that you haven't based, so Viego can just walk mid and place it. Akali is even basing, so if he picked up the Herald, walks to mid and places it, they're just gonna crack your turret right away. It's kind of a gamble, but it's one of those things where, you know, you trusted your instincts and it worked.
It's definitely not something I maybe thought about at that moment, but it makes total sense. If they come, they take it over, get more tempo, right?
Yeah.
And I'm screwed because I haven't backed. I have maybe 1,000 gold at this point, 800.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I leash it for them. They get tempo, and we lose tempo.
So. Yeah, and it's also a perfect time for Viego to like pick it up and make a play, because he already cleared most of his jungle anyways, and you wasted a lot of time that could have been spent doing crocs and then moving out bot side. But yeah, it worked, so I'm happy. Now, the main thing for us to do after getting that Herald is just to get our base off. Like, we don't want to end up in a fight. We need...
This is really random.
Yeah, it's just like... It's probably
one... I don't know why I had Volibear instead of just going into the jungle, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's one of those cases where you know... It's just a bit stressful, right? You feel like you have to make an impact because your lanes are losing. It's tough to be in this position, but we just need to focus on what is the right move for us.
Total misplay. I didn't know Viego would be there, right? So, and I missed the E here, right? So I thought maybe if I go towards Volibear, I can escape easier.
It's just like an oopsie.
Just the overall misplay.
Yeah. Right? The main thing here. We get the Herald, we do our crocs, cycled all our camps and got the objective. Then we can base, we move bot side, and because our team is not doing well, there's a lot of plates for us to collect, mid and bot. We literally have 15 plates to power through. Obviously we're not going to get top, so we can do crocs, base, move out on the map, and then we play for plates mid or bot. But yeah, we get our reset off anyways with a grey screen. It happens, but we got to base nevertheless. Now we're gonna move back on the map, and we need the main thing here is gonna be to make a good Herald play. If we think even a step further ahead, we took Drake at around 7 minutes. So in 2 minutes from now, Drake is gonna spawn, and in a perfect world, we place this Herald within the next 2 minutes and do the next Drake on spawn, because then we are getting pretty close to soul already.
You want to maybe drop the Herald and then go to Drake? Or what do you think?
Not necessarily. I think it's just a good thing if we can place the Herald soon, so we get the gold secured. It's not like a given that we can.
You don't want to do like a distraction play. Like, look at this Herald mid, taking all your plates while we take Drake.
It's like, it can work, but it's a bit unreliable.
Definitely. And it needs to really do a mega charge or whatever you want to call it. Because otherwise, it's Herald, right? You need some plates or...
Exactly. We want to get some plates. So Herald first, then we focus on getting Drake next. There's one thing I want to point out. Before getting into this, I know we've been talking for a while, but we talked about the runes. And I said... What did I say about Umbral Glaive?
You said that it told me to maybe take Zombie Ward because it synergizes really well with Umbral. You clear the wards really fast, you spot them really fast. They nerf cooldown on the activation, so it's like 30 seconds. I feel like maybe more.
Yeah, and exactly.
It's really well. Yeah.
And as we see on your runes, in this particular game, you have Eyeball and not Zombie Ward, and for that exact reason. We do not want to go Umbral Glaive, because Umbral Glaive is not very nice if you don't have the Zombie Ward to pair it with. It's kind of like a combo. So instead, in this game, I would have liked to see you going for either Dustblade or Prowler's Claw. In my mind, kha'zix is always going to be one of those two. Which one? I would say kind of depends a bit on preference, honestly. I think both are pretty good. So in this case, we should just have built towards that instead of Umbral, because we don't have Zombie Ward. So let's move on to the next thing. Let's see what happens. So now we have a Herald.
So just clearing some vision. Getting confused here by the activation. No vehicles topside.
Yeah.
Take his camps. What is jungle? Looking for the best play. Bot lane backed, so you can't really go there.
So this, to me, seems a little bit random for different reasons. It's just like one of those scenarios where, okay, you know Viego is top, they're cracking top turret, and you feel like you have to make a counterplay bot side instantly. You get the Raptors, but because you went to your Raptors so early, it gets a bit awkward, because now you don't really have a job. It's like hard to force the Herald play mid, because Viego and Renekton can move down, and Akali doesn't have prio. And you can't really make a play bot, because, well, you're bot lane based, right? Yeah. So, in my mind, if we go back a little bit, when I see Viego top here, there he is. When I see Viego top here, we saw him like 5 seconds ago, you're still in your grump. I think to myself, well, if I want his Raptors, they're gonna be mine no matter what. Unless he instantly bases and moves to them.
It's definitely a risky play, right?
In this case, your bot lane is in a situation where the enemy bot lane just based. So they want to base as well. Akali is gonna be weaker than Yasuo, because Yasuo is coming out of base. And it's just gonna be hard to force like a bigger play. So I think it's like always good to look to deny the enemy camps. And I don't think going to Raptors is wrong necessarily, because if you rush them, you can get them before Viego comes, and you know that. But you need to have a plan ready for what's going to happen next, and that's kind of what we're missing here. Because right now, your first thought is, okay, he's top, I'm going to go Raptors, that's good. We need to have the next step ready too, because what happens after Raptors? What happens when bot lane bases? What happens when Akali doesn't have prio? Because we are focused on putting Herald down. That I can see, you want to place it. It's just that in this case, it's a bit similar to earlier, where I said we don't have to overforce anything, we don't have to overdo it. And because right now we don't really have an easy play, well, it happens. We just go clear our wolves, we clear our Raptors, and then we look for something afterwards. Because right now, if we don't farm, if we are not efficient with our pathing, it's going to be pretty hard to catch up to Viego. And in this case, we walk into the bush at 10:48, and we can just see how much time we end up wasting.
Yeah. it's not not ideal.
So keep playing. There's all sorts of random things going on. The game is kind of falling apart around you. That's not really your fault. That's just the nature of the game. What we want to focus on is the fact that you did your last camp at 10:48, and now it's 12:20. That's a very long time without clearing a camp. A time that could have been spent farming, that could have brought you to level 8, so you were same level as Viego, and that could then possibly have made a difference in, you know, the Drake fight or whatever. Like, at this point, or like, with all the craziness happening, it's like, it's kind of hard to get a Herald play off. You've kind of been part of the craziness too, though. So I think instead it's just about cycling your camps. After you cycle your camps, then we look for the play. Because it's like, it doesn't matter as much we end up in these random fights if we have cycled our camps first. We just did it in the wrong order. Does that make sense?
Of course, yeah, makes perfect sense. Like,
Okay.
right now I'm wasting time. Right?
Yeah, we're just wasting time that we could instead have spent farming. But if we clear the camps first and then fight, then there's no camps to clear anyways.
Yeah.
So a crazy fight breaks out around Drake. I mean, I guess we don't want to get way too far into the specifics of the fight, but let's just see how it played out.
Here, really.
One thing to note is that Drake is up. I think you use your smite on blue buff here in a second, and it's like, this is kind of a tricky decision because you were pretty low.
Yeah.
So I actually think it was correct for you to smite the blue here. Obviously, if you're a bit more healthy, you want to keep the smite for the Drake, or you even want to run the Drake immediately. But you smite blue to get health for the fight. I think that's fine. You even drop blue so you can make it earlier. That's good as well. I don't think there's anything you could do differently here. It's just kind of a random fight, really. Can't be argued whether or not the team should have taken this fight, but again, it's solo queue, we can't really mind control them. That's just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you can focus on yourself.
Yeah, we just focus on what we can do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is looking like a difficult game, but we in solo queue, it's very important to not tell yourself that the game is doomed. We need to always believe, in my opinion, that the game is winnable until either a surrender vote, you know, has come through, or the game just ends because they take our Nexus. Because a lot of people in this scenario would say, well, the game is lost, I'm just gonna stop playing. But we need to find out what we can do right. We're pretty behind. Top is completely and utterly doomed. This guy is almost 4.5k down at 13 minutes. It's mid is almost 2k down. Bot lane has been doing okay. Then kind of similar boat as we are. It's like, well, it's a tough life, you know, solo lanes are not doing well, but they also just need to focus on what they can do similar to us. And for what it's worth, we could have been in a better position this game if we didn't go for all the, like, if we didn't waste time, if we didn't go for the invades, if we just kept farming, we could have had a CS lead on Viego.
Yeah. Also, I didn't place Herald, right?
Yeah, we also, that's actually true, we didn't place Herald. Because yeah, that's also a mistake. That can, yeah. But it kind of got, you know, it was like all the craziness that ended up happening, where we ended up fighting instead of just doing our camps, that then led to us not placing Herald, and it was like just a million random fights breaking out. Sometimes you're gonna want to take part in some of those fights, but it's not really what you want to do. You're like thinking, in my mind, when you sit in this bush, you're like thinking of what you think the team wants from you and how you can help them. But we're just overforcing the play rather than waiting for the opportunity, and if we went to farm instead, then we would have found an opportunity to place Herald and life would be good. Yeah, now it's a bit tricky. It's never fun jungling from behind. It's even less fun jungling from behind when your top laner is 0-5-0 in Volibear. The mid game is always going to be a little trickier as a jungle, especially from behind. But there's always stuff we can do differently, so we're just going to have a look. I think mid games are like always different. I think the main thing as a jungler to like just grind out, to continue really focusing on getting better at, is the early game. Because if you play a good and clean early game, it's just going to translate into a lot of wins. Then maybe in a different game you're going to be the reason there's a 5-0 Renekton, right? And then it's like, you know, you just win in the first 10 minutes. But yeah, let's see how this game plays out from here. Again, what I would like to see is a focus on just securing camps, because often what happens when you are behind is that the enemy team is slowly gonna crawl into your jungle and steal camps away from you. So the biggest goal for us being behind is gonna be to place defensive vision. One thing that could be pointed out, let's just have a look here. One thing that could have been pointed out is, wait, I'm just gonna check something just for the sake of it. Right here, I am pretty convinced we could have sold this refillable and gotten a pink ward with our futures market.
Oh yeah, also I think you could buy a pink ward here, right, and go in debt. But
exactly.
I
don't
think at
know.
the moment I felt like the vision is not gonna win us the game. I need more gold, right?
Yeah.
But that's definitely
but you're
a mistake.
also
I can see that.
sitting on a refillable potion that doesn't do anything for you at 14 minutes anymore.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, as a jungler, even if you're a laner, like refillable potion doesn't really do anything. So just sell the refillable, get a pink ward that can then help you cover the jungle entrances, because now it's all about getting as many camps as you can before they come and deny them from you. It's like, at this point, in my mind, jungling is kind of a little mini game. Like, protect as many camps as you can to stay relevant, because it's just a matter of time before, you know, they come to steal them away from you. You find a good opportunity to steal their crocs, that's good. You grab a bot wave, works for me. The camps are up, you secure them right away. For some reason, none of your teammates want to lane bots. You're the jungler, you just walk there and defend. I also think that's pretty good. In an ideal world, your laners are covering this lane. I would hope Akali is coming to match the Yasuo soon. Doesn't seem like she's very interested in that. I would say at this point, if Akali doesn't seem to be interested in going bot, we need to ping her, like, Akali, please come bot, because I mean, you can cover a wave or two, but you don't want to be stuck here, right? And especially in lower elos, it's also a lot of mid laners don't really know what to do after their bot lane swaps to mid, right? It's like, in my mind, it's pretty natural that when the turrets are down, bot lane swaps to mid laner swaps to side lane, everyone's happy. Sometimes we need to help the mid lane a little bit and be like, hey, please come bot, I can't stay and cover this turret forever, I don't want to lane against this fat Yasuo, right? So we cover until Akali comes. And I'm not surprised to see you going for this. It's like the Immortal Shield Bow being a bit of a bait, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it can be a tricky one to judge, and I think going for plays is like, we're gonna have to make plays at some point to win this game.
That's my thought, right? If we just sit back, they're gonna win the game. We need to do something.
The thing is, we need to do something at some point, but we need it to be the right moment. There's like a world where you can outplay this Yasuo, but given how fat he is, like, he's gonna have to play pretty bad for that to happen. So I can't fully blame you for going for this play. I don't think it's good.
I also was getting dove, right? If you look, so either I go for the play or yeah.
Well, I don't think they're ever gonna be able to dive you, because you have stealth and you have your flash available, right? So you can always just, and you also took their wave. Plus Akali is coming. I think there's a lot of reasons as to why they can't dive you, and it's also in this case, because Yasuo is so fat, it's gonna be hard for them to dive you. You might be able to outplay them on the turret with Akali coming. Whereas if you go for this play, in my mind, there's like a 10% chance of you killing him. And we always want to go for the high percentage plays. Now, if they're not here, if there's not the threat of diving, then we just leave Yasuo. We just let him be with Akali. We go clear our camps before the enemy team does it for us. And then we look for a better opportunity. Of course, we're in a lot of pressure, and it's like easy to talk about this from the outside, because in-game it's really stressful, because this Renekton is just a god. Volibear is probably hard flaming you, thinking it's your fault that he's behind.
No
that's
comment.
like, yeah, I'm sure he flames you. That's what I'm gathering for that no comment. It's just the way it is, you know. A laner makes a mistake, you're the jungler, they're gonna do everything in their power to flame you. He probably spent more time, you know, typing on his keyboard and playing the game. Maybe that's why he's so behind, I wouldn't know. But yeah, it's stressful, it's tough, but we just have to try to ignore all the chaos, the possible hatred coming from our laners, and then try to wait for the good openings. But yeah, we make this mistake. You know, Yasuo actually ends up dying. That's a bit of a miracle. Akali got him. Volibear, for some reason, overextended and died. That's also out of our control. So let's see what comes next. At this point... Oh, once again, we forgot to sell our refillable for a pink ward. I'm just going to point that out again.
Yeah. Unlucky. And yeah, here I just want to...
I mean,
get rid of the Herald, but I end up dying.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same point as before, where it's like, if we go in for a fight, especially with us being so far behind, it needs to be a winning fight. We can't go for a fight that there's a low chance we can win. If you're in the jungle, you're gonna beat this Viego right now if he's isolated, because you have better items than him. But the problem is that if you're fighting the wave, the minions are gonna hit you, and he's not isolated, so then he can actually come out on top. But
when you see this play, you think, what the hell is he doing, right? Because it's under 900 HP, so I could have smited it instead of just jumping in and then Qing.
Yeah, so I think that there's a world... There's a world where you can kill him here if you just walk up and smite it. But you need the minions to be cleared, so if you play this patiently, maybe this guy is gonna mess up. The fact that he's walking up with 2.2k gold is already a big you know, mistake. So I think instead of jumping in, we just walk up, smite the Herald, Viego. Then, if he stays, we just wait until the wave is cleared out. We just need him to be isolated, really. The second this guy is isolated, we can kill him. If he's not isolated, if the minions are hitting us, we can't do anything. We also used our jump by mistake, so that's kind of tricky. So it just started as badly as it possibly could. My point is, if he makes a mistake and overextends, we can kill him if he's isolated. If he doesn't, we just smite the Herald and clear our camps. We're probably gonna have to give the next Drake because of the game state. That's just the way it is. Our chances of winning are not too high, but we just gotta keep looking for good opportunities. This could have been one. He also played pretty well, so props to him for that. But yeah, in this case it just ended up being double bad, right? Because not only did we die, but he also stole our camp, which is exactly what we want to prevent.
And getting Drake as well.
Yeah. Now, your team magically killed the raid boss. Renekton is now dead. Good. Now Volibear has 1 kill. Unfortunately for us, he's still 5k gold down because of how much he's struggling. But when I see stuff like this, I'm not only happy that my top laner got a kill, I'm happy because this might mean Volibear is a bit more positive and believes we can win the game.
His mental gets restored.
It's like a mental win in a way.
Reset.
But yeah, now, as expected, these guys are coming in to clear our camps. We don't really have any vision. And in a different world where we have vision, like maybe we can, you know, actually get a good fight off here. If Fresh is around, maybe we can defend our camps now because we don't have any vision, because we don't have people around. We have to give up everything, which kind of sucks. Once again, we're getting a little bit desperate. We're getting a little bit angry because they steal our camps, and I can relate to that feeling. But it's just we're just not in a position where we can fight. We should know they're all around. More than anything, we should know that if we jump in here, we're just dead, and we don't really want that. If there's 100% chance this guy is dead when you jump, we maybe could argue for it. But that's not really the case, so we should just...
Oh, definitely not.
Just,
I think that play was like desperation and a little bit of thinking that we're not really there, all of them.
Yeah, it's just like... There can be different things involved, right? I mean, Akali goes for the big hero play now as well. She actually got a 1-for-1, so that's pretty good. That's just her pulling out a crazy play, so in that sense it wasn't that bad. But we can't really rely on her, you know, going for the hero play, right? But yeah, anyways, it ended up being a 1-for-1, assuming Thresh lives. Akali goes in for the play too. Oh lord, this is getting a little spicy. Everyone wants the action. Well now, what we didn't want to happen is happened. They stole our bot side. Now our top side is coming up, and we just need to defend that before they come in to take it away. Jin is very kind. Takes the red buff, so we don't have to farm as long. What a good guy. Renekton helps us with the other ones, and now we don't. We're kind of jobless. We don't have a job anymore.
We go Sonya's next item, right? So we can survive.
True. I also like what you're evolving, by the way, Q into W. That's my own preference as well. I think that is the best. The alternative can be to evolve ult, like the R, and then go W, but personally I think Q into W is really nice.
It's a little bit of a gimmicky evolution, the R.
Yeah. Here, something random happens mid. Similar to before, we know our wolves are coming up, so I think we just need to be ready to take them as soon as we can. To just keep defending that camp. And then after wolves, it's like Renekton is clearly moving towards them already. Yeah, at least I'm assuming that's what he's thinking. Like, he wants the camp, he wants to go bot. So we just have to try to get them if we can. If we can't, that's fine, but we just gotta try to defend our camp. A random fight breaks out mid. We find a good opportunity, and we actually have a comeback play on our hands. And I do want to note that this comeback play happened because the opponents overextended walked up, and not because we forced a play on them. But now, let's see. Let's see what we do here. If Akali was more healthy, do you think you could have gotten Baron?
Yeah, definitely. 2 people versus 5, yeah.
I agree.
I also think we can do it without Akali, actually. We need to outplay them maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's that hard, right? If I W them, they have no movement speed. Should be easy for Thresh to hit a
That part I kind of disagree with, mostly because Akali is the fed member on your team. She's like the strong one. So if Volibear was the strong one, you know, if he had 7 kills, then, or you did, then maybe. The problem is that all the gold is on Akali. And sure, it's a 2 versus 4, but none of you can really tank Baron. You're all pretty squishy, so you're gonna drop low from Baron. And this Yasuo is really fit, so there's a high chance the game can explode and you can just insta-lose here.
But I still think it's the right play. And that's because kha'zix really gives a lot of damage to Baron, right? If Volibear tanks it or Thresh.
Then my question is gonna be, we know Viego and Yasuo are gonna come to stop you.
Yeah.
Who's gonna kill them? Because you need to turn when they come, you can't just keep tanking Baron.
I mean, I still feel like even though Yasuo is so fed, like, he can't do anything if he gets like CC'd, right? And we have Volibear Q, we have my W to land Thresh hooks and flails.
Yeah,
and,
but
Jin is like a supportive ADC, so he has the root, right? And he deals an okay amount of damage and can kite easily, right? So 2v5, I don't think it's a huge problem. I definitely see the risk in like going for it. Maybe you can bait it, right? If you clear the vision, make them come to you, get 2 kills. But
I think the problem...
I can see Yasuo getting like 4 or 5 kills and we lose the game.
The problem for me is that the only one who can really carry fights right now is Akali. And Akali will not be there because she has the base. So when we do Baron, not only do we not have a tank, meaning either you or Volibear, whoever's gonna tank, is gonna drop really low, which is gonna put you in a disadvantage for the fight. but we also don't have any damage to kill them. Meaning, if I am Yasuo and Viego, I'm just gonna walk and just look at you doing Baron, which is gonna happen pretty slow, even though you're kha'zix, because Volibear and Jhin are completely useless when it comes to doing Baron. So it's gonna take you a while to do Baron, meaning you're gonna drop low from tanking it. And then when they come and we have to turn on them, even if Jhin and Thresh lands everything, all the CC, Volibear, Q as well, E, like everything lands, the damage is just gonna be so low that it's actually gonna be really hard to kill them. And in a best case where they mess up, we trade like a 1-for-1. Because one of you is probably gonna die, if not two, and then we kill one of them, but then we can't get Baron anyways, right? So I think
my play is like in the perfect world, right? But we don't live in the perfect world.
We don't live in the perfect world, because if we lived...
Someone will die, I can actually see that happening, right?
If we lived in the perfect world, your Volibear would not have been 1-8 at 20 minutes. I get that some people enjoy dying a lot. Some people in League are playing Grey Screen Simulator instead of League of Legends, and he's playing to get 2-digit deaths as fast as he can. But that's even less reason to trust this guy in a Baron scenario where there's more stress than usual. Especially around Baron, people get really stressed, and it's as far as away from a perfect world that you can possibly get, I feel like. So I get where you're coming from. I think there's parts of me that would want to go Baron as well, because I'm desperate for a comeback play. But it's just so hard because all the gold is on Akali and she's like almost dead. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't go for it. That's what I wanted. That's great. They already threw once. Now, again, Baron is still up because we didn't take it and we're 21 minutes. So right now our goal has to be to prevent them from getting Baron as a jungler. Fortunately enough, we have a bit of power around the Baron in the sense that if, you know, they make a mistake, if they don't have perfect vision, which they rarely do, we might even be able to steal and 50-50 it if they go for it. And then maybe we can come back. But the goal is the same. Instead of being here looking for a play on a crocodile who is unkillable, we just need to do Grump Wolves. We are sitting at 1900 gold as well. So once we base, we are actually going to be pretty strong, and we might be able to get a pick on Misfortune or Renata. Unfortunately for us, it's actually pretty hard to kill Renekton and Viego and Yasuo at this point, but maybe we can get a pick on Misfortune then. So we should just clear Grump Wolves base, spend our gold, because when you base you can get your mythic item, you can get another serrated Dirk, you have a lot of burst damage, maybe something good can happen. Now we sat around bot for a while. Renekton ended up dying, but because they saw us going for the bot play, they just randomly, well, it's actually not random, as a response they start Baron.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I'm doing my wolves. I think it's just,
it's one of those things where we also need to use Fog of War, so it's not only about your tempo, it's that if we show bot here with Baron being up and them all being topside, you and Akali, I mean, you and Akali are both valuable to the team. Like, you are not as strong right now, but you have Smite, which is already a trigger for them to start Baron. But then Akali is the only one who can stop them. So if they see both of you bot, they can just do Baron for free. Plus you're not farming. So that's like a few different reasons here as to why they get the Baron. Yeah, instead we should just have taken these two camps. If they don't see you bot, they're not gonna do anything. Nothing is gonna happen. They get Baron. Renekton died. We find a pig on Misfortune. That's perfect. She overextends. We're there ready to punish her. That's exactly what we need to look for. And now we just need to try to defend that Baron play. It's kind of tricky. There's a limit to what we can do. You try to get the Drake. It didn't work. I think it's fine to look for. It's just after Drake instead of it's like just once they come, they're just too strong. So you just need to leave. Maybe in a different game you get away with it, but now we hit the plant by mistake, I think.
No, it was on purpose because of.
Oh, you went for the steal,
they
right?
Pulled it out a bit, right? So.
Oh, you went for the steal.
Yeah, I went for the steal. Yeah. But it was
I see it.
If they pressed it right, so.
Yeah.
It looks really weird and really int. So.
I mean, it doesn't look that weird. I don't think it's that bad. You see the Drake dying and you want to steal it. I think it's again about looking at the bigger picture, right? That when if we go in and we die, they're gonna get so much more with Baron, because then you're not able to defend, and then they can just push mid and bot even harder than what they would already be able to, and it's just kind of tricky. So even if you get Drake here, it's not ideal, because they're gonna go push with their Baron buffs. That's
yeah. It's, basically, the lesson is not to get that desperate, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we've seen these last 10 minutes is a lot of desperation, which is not ideal. It's more about trying to remain calm, trying to be calculated, which is difficult when you're behind, because it also feels bad just waiting. I mean, this is one of the things that I've always had a hard time with in like a game like CSGO, for example, that you're just it feels like you're just camping, sitting, waiting for them to do something, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you get like bored or you get desperate, and then you go make a play and then you die. That's my CSGO experience. I just walk up and die because I'm not patient. But then if you wait, if you are like a good little boy who just sits and camps, eventually someone is going to walk out and you can, you know, get your comeback play, right? And this is what we need to do when we're behind. But yeah, so they got Baron, they got our mid inhib, they got a Nexus turret, they got bots here too. They were expected to get a lot of the Baron regardless of anything, because they were so ahead, it's hard to defend. Similar to earlier, the camps have been sitting up for a while. It's like there hasn't been as much we could do about them now, because there's been a lot of fights and we were just kind of defending from their play, so it's not as bad. But again, I think pushing out bot here is pretty good, because if you don't do it, no one else will, so we can push out bot.
My fault is that lane minions over jungle camps, right? Because the jungle camps will be there, maybe, if they don't invade, or your teammates can get them. And my positioning was, I was the one on the team bot lane, right? Or the bot side.
I see where you're coming from. I'm not sure if I entirely agree with lane minions over jungle camps, but in this case, there's a pretty high chance you can get both.
Yeah, it's the greedy play, right? Because you both get the jungle camps or the lane minions, and you get the.
Yeah, well, I don't even think it's greedy here, because similar to what happened earlier, right? It's like no one else plans on going bot, and because you're a champ like kha'zix that can easily go there, you just get some extra from.
Explain what I meant by greedy, I guess.
Okay.
The enemy team could get my jungle camp, right? And I only got the lane minions.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I mean. Right? Yeah, if they just ran straight to my jungle camps, I guess they could get it. Like Yasuo runs bot, right? Someone MF TP's back.
Yeah, makes sense.
Here I'm at another desperation play, getting the wave, cutting the
wave.
Well,
I think this is pretty smart. I mean, you know that if they get the wave in to your base, like, you're just gonna lose the game. So I think cutting the wave is not necessarily a bad thing. That can actually buy you some time. So I think that's pretty smart. I think the unfortunate part is that your team plays for a fight instead of just clearing the wave. If they just play to clear mid and bot, it's great, because you already cleared the mid wave, and then the Renekton is not there because he came mid to stop you. So I think what you did here was pretty good. We just needed the team to play a little safer. You even end up walking back, get a kill on Misfortune. And from this point on, it's like, it's just tricky. It just comes down to execution and fight. The enemy team ends up making a mistake. We get a comeback play. That's pretty great. Unfortunately, we're still pretty down. After the play, you do the right thing. You run for the Drake immediately. End up dying to Misfortune. In an ideal world, we don't go for her. We just focus on getting the Drake. But you could also say that as a case where you kill her. It's just securing as much as we can, going for the high percentage play.
Yeah, I think going for Misfortune is correct, because she was alone. But I think I misplayed it. Like, I was standing too much in her ulti. That it killed me. Like in.
Yeah, well, this is one of those cases where, let's say, I've seen situations like this happen a lot when doing reviews on a pro team. If you go in here and this works and you kill her, no one's gonna complain. But if you go in and you die, then
Yeah.
it's not very, very great, right?
Yeah,
so
they're gonna be
stuff
very
like this, if you
unhappy.
kill her here, you're gonna get away with it, and I'm not gonna say anything, even though it's okay. Maybe I would, but it's like it doesn't matter as much. But it's like
Again,
you
the risk is
dying
too high, right?
showcases very clearly that it's not necessarily the greatest choice, and something can go wrong. Whereas if you just focus on getting Drake, maybe she's still gonna overstay, and you can kill her with a Kali in a moment. But yeah, luckily enough, they all died, so we still get the Drake. Sad part is Baron is up because you're so behind, and because you died. That's another downside of you dying.
Yeah,
now you cannot steal Baron. Maybe if you didn't
really,
die.
really bad at it.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't die, you could beat her. But now they get Baron. They're so much stronger than we are. There's nothing that we can really do. We're dying all over the place. They walk in, and they end the game. One thing worth noting is that even though they did win in the end, right, it's like they made a lot of mistakes. We had a lot of opportunities. Maybe in a different world, we could have come back. So it's like it's just about all those small things that happen throughout the game, all those little decisions we make. They kind of add up, and maybe changing them and doing everything as close to perfect as we can could have, changed the outcome, right?
Yeah, less risky plays. Maybe don't get so frustrated with the game, right? Try to make desperation plays.
Yeah, a little bit.
How I would sum it up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is also the pathing.
And a lot of macro.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me is the pathing. When we go for invades, we need to go for invades knowing there's a very high chance we're going to get something. If there's not a very high chance we're going to get something, and especially if we don't have lane prio, it's always good to just cycle your camps. Cycling your camps is like a really big thing when you're a jungler. It can just give you a big advantage over the other jungler, because if you path more efficiently than him, if you cycle your camps constantly, he's probably gonna wander around wasting time while you're slowly getting a lead by just farming. And then after you clear those camps, then you make your play, and then you don't waste time. But I think despite the loss, it was a good game to look at. Top lane got completely dunked on, but
yeah, and that's totally normal, right? Everyone has a game where they just get stomped. It could have gone either way, I think. If Volibear got the kill, right, I wouldn't have gone to Viego, right? I would have pushed the lane with him, made him back faster, so he could have gone to lane.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have had flash anymore, no ignite. I could easily dive him, I think. Pre-6, I should say.
Yeah, it's like, it comes down to a lot of small things happening and how we respond to what happens. That's one of the luxuries of being a jungler, that now, because Volibear loses this fight, then we need to react accordingly, and then we cannot invade anymore. Yeah. Whereas if Volibear wins, then yeah,
maybe I shouldn't help him.
The invade is still like, I think the invade is still not fully ideal because you're not cycling your wolves. So your second
is there no
clears.
world where you would invade, like take three camps, go top or invade? Was it a bad idea, do you think?
I think it's a bad idea because
you value the rotation and
I think cycling your camps is gonna be more efficient, because actually what you end up getting from that invade is not always gonna be that big. Like, it sounds nice to go in and deny some camps, but it's rare that it ends up like having that big of an impact. Because getting into that jungle, getting out again, it also takes time. And I think often, like, I would never go for an invade like this. I would focus on the crap instead, or trying to influence the top matchup. So for me, it's mostly about, with kha'zix in particular, it's mostly about the crap. If I'm playing Elise or Lee or whatever champion, Nidalee, that's like really strong at invading, I could look for the early invade, but when I see my top laner die, when I see my mid laner getting pushed, not anymore. And I think, like right now, you're already on your way here, but when you're on Grump, like the mid wave is already building, and it's like, I just don't see any reason right now as to why I would know this is a good invade, because top matchup can go either way, and mid matchup is like, it's also a bit whatever.
My plan wasn't to invade, right?
But then you should always then you should always do your wolves, because if you also go top, you can always do it later. Like even if top looks really free, you can do it after wolves without red buff, or you can do red and then go top, because it's just more natural for the clear. So clearing that first side of the jungle is something you almost always want to do before making a play. But yeah, overall,
thank you for the nice advices and what I could do better in the future. I definitely see what you mean on every point.
I am happy to hear that. Happy
I'm
that
honored.
happy you enjoyed it, and well, I'm honored to have you in this first coaching session as well. Has been a pleasure for sure. It's been a pretty long one as well. I think we've been sitting here for like 1.5 hours at this point. So
I hope Twitch chat isn't
actually
bored.
we've been sitting here for almost 2 hours. So it's been a very long one. Very detailed. Maybe there's some points I could have made a bit shorter, but now we've gone through all of it for what that's worth. So yeah, it's been good. Glad that you wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna hop off then. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you very much. You too.
Hope to see you in
too.
Oh yeah. Hope to see you in Diamond soon on that kha'zix.
I'll come on your stream next time, okay? And I'll be Diamond.
Okay.
I will get these advices from you, and I will put them to good use.
Cool. Looking forward to see the curling pulse in Diamond. Yeah, I actually didn't think it would be that long. I thought it would be a bit shorter. But since this was my first time doing a coaching session like this, I just wanted to get into the specifics as much as we could, like really dive into it all. I think there was a lot of interesting things to talk about. And if there wasn't, obviously we wouldn't be talking about it for 2 hours. But I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on everything. So if you made it this far, let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if this is something you think that I should be doing again, that you appreciate as content. It's new, it's different, it's been fun. And at the end of the day, the main thing, the only important thing is that you guys enjoy it. Because if you guys don't enjoy it, there's no reason for me to do this. I might as well be doing something else, like playing solo queue or doing whatever. But yeah, now we tried it, so it was good, it was fun.